Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. Oh, man. Today in D&D news, there isn't any. Not really, at least. Fizzbands is now 1 week away from releasing, so if you have not already pre-ordered your copy and are looking to do so, please make sure you get your pre-orders in, because if you're ordering from your local shop, they're going to need to make sure they have their supply number right, their order number right. If you're getting it on like D&D Beyond or something like that, you can pre-order pretty much right up until it releases. But if you do pre-order it there, you do get some extra stuff usually. So encouragement. Yep, that's what I got for you. Encouragement. Moving on from the news or lack thereof, we have streams. There is really only one stream that I know of today, and that is the C Team at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/DND. That's the official Wizards channel. But as I have said many, many times in the past, if you are just looking for some D&D to watch and you don't really know what else to do, just go on like Twitch or something like that and just look up D&D, because there's always somebody streaming their game. And I mean, it's good to support smaller streams too. And a lot of times those size streams really just need viewers, because viewership is what helps build streams, honestly. The more viewers you get, the more likely you are to get subscribers, and et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people who are streaming their D&D games want to be doing it for a living, because that is, I mean, who doesn't want to be doing D&D for a living, really, right? Like, if you're watching my channel, you probably know that would be an ideal kind of thing. Moving forward from the streams and news, we have T&D today. I have been talking a lot recently. I played a lot of RPG over the last like 3-4 days, and my job involved me speaking a lot to a lot of people, saying the same thing over and over again for the last couple days. So I am a little burned out in the old vocal cords. So we have some more of the orange peel, licorice root, and slippery elm bark, that's what it is, tea that's supposed to be good for your voice, in my Scooby-Doo mug once again, because it felt thematic, because today we are talking about curses. That is a transition for you right there. I don't usually do those. I usually just stop talking and then start talking again, because I don't know how to structure things. And now that I've gone on this little tangent, I have continued to fail in doing so. Anyway, we are talking about curses today. This was going to be part of my spooky week for Halloween, which has been restructured and shuffled around, so we're throwing it in today, because why not? If you're planning on running a one-shot or something for Halloween times, here you go. And curses are a big important part of it. Again, if you are planning on running a spooky-ish one-shot or a like Halloween-themed D&D one-shot, I cannot recommend enough picking up Von Richten's guide if you have not already, because they have a whole like toolbox full of horror stuff. Like, the whole book is horror based, and I highly recommend it if you don't have it already. Similar to when we talked about oh god, what did we talk about? Just running horror games. Yeah, that was that episode when we talked about running horror games. This is a lot of what this is coming straight out of Von Richten's guide. And I highly recommend you checking it out for yourself if what I say here doesn't make sense, or you want to read a little bit more into it. So anyway, with all that said, let's dive into some curses, shall we? Oh man, I'm in kind of a weird mood today again. I feel like I say that most days. Not the point. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So curses. We're not talking about cursed items. We're not talking about like that sort of thing, like the status condition curse or anything like that. We were talking about curses, like the like mummy's curse sort of thing, you know, like the thing you see in movies, like people have done something and they've gotten a curse. Von Richten's section on curses opens with like an example and stuff like that, but the next bit, which is laying curses, leads with curses aren't something to throw around lightly, which is fair and true. Because, which they also go on to explain, if you just throw a bunch of curses around all the time, it's not going to have any kind of impact. It's like when we talked about traps, where like if you just throw them in everywhere, it doesn't matter anymore. Suddenly it's just always, oh, it's another curse. Pick a couple of them, make them very impactful, and move forward with that. A curse is a great, awesome, fantastic start to a one-shot, actually. At the end of this, I'll go through a little Halloween one shot that like I have like thought up and kind of run in the past. I haven't gotten a chance to do like all of it, but I would really like to at some point. So if you are talking about curses in this capacity, we're talking about like unsealing a tomb, wronging someone who has like great mysterious power or something like that. Murdering someone who's wholly innocent, and by wholly I mean entirely, but also I guess holy in like the God sense. We are doing D&D stuff. Somebody that would have not some kind, enough clout essentially with the universe or some higher power to actually lay a curse on you, right? Stealing something, stealing treasure, that sort of thing. You know, the your run of the mill like movie plot kind of thing. That is the kind of curse we're talking about here. So if you are looking at a curse like that, Von Richten's lays it out really well. There are 3 distinct parts to the curse. The first one is pronouncement, the second one is burden, and the third one is resolution. The first one being pronouncement. Really, all 3 of these are pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain them to you anyway. Not because I think you're dumb, but because I have a good 10 more minutes at least to fill up with this. The first one being pronouncement. This is like the laying of the curse, the giving of the curse, the throwing the curse at somebody and having it stick to them sort of thing, right? This is it is the activation, because you won't always necessarily get like a big curse. Sometimes if you're like stealing something out of a crypt and it triggers a curse, you're not going to get like a loud like some voice coming through saying you have been cursed or anything like that. That's not really what you're going for here. You're going more for like the triggering event and the subsequent application of the curse, right? So another good way to like sort of lay the groundwork for that is to have it be well established within whatever culture you're playing in that this curse is a thing. I'm using the word culture kind of loosely here. It's more like establishment that you're playing within. Like if you're in an inn on the side of a road somewhere and somebody's talking about like the cursed cave or something out back, that's good. Like that's a rumor that's flying around inside of the cave. It's also a plot hook, so that your characters and players will potentially want to go there. So then they go check it out, and then they get cursed and stuff like that, right? But this is the pronouncement of the curse is, in addition to the like laying the groundwork for it and everything like that, it is the actual application of it, which I think I've said already. So this is the part where as you like drive a sword through your enemy, the high priest who's corrupt or whatever, they actually go ahead and use the words to lay the curse on you, or you pick up the idol or whatever and you release some sort of like seal in doing so, and it like lets dark spirits or whatever come out and like go up your nose or something. I don't know. There's holes on your face for spirits to go in. This is the point where the curse is actually being put on you. It is not the point where you experience the curse necessarily for the first time. It is just the point where it is put on you, and that is an important distinction, because as we go into the next step, the burden, that is when you experience and then continue to experience the curse. If you take this idol off of the pedestal and you get some purple ghosts that fly up out of the pedestal and they go around and one of them goes up your nose, the other one goes in your ear or something like that, I don't know, just keep picking random places for the ghost to enter your body, I guess. You might not know what's going on at first. It might just sort of happen, or there's a flash of light and you're blinded or something like that, so you don't see it. You like sense something is a little bit weird, and then nothing happens. But then later on, or some kind of thing like that, say every night at midnight, you have to make a wisdom saving throw, even if you're asleep, or you will be taken over by a different entity. If you're asleep, you're not woken up by it, and it like walks around and wreaks havoc and then you return to bed and blah, 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 blah. You don't remember any of it in the morning, or if you are awake for it, you experience it all, but you don't have any control over it. That sort of thing. A couple of the examples that they lay out in Von Richten's guide are the victim of the curse has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and save throws, or some combination thereof. It can be applied to a single ability score or a general thing. You gain 3 levels of exhaustion immediately and can't have that removed until the curse ends, which is a lot of exhaustion, by the way. 6 levels kills you. 3 levels is a disadvantage on ability checks, half movement, and disadvantage on attacks and saves. I think it's and saves. I might be wrong. It might just be attacks. Not the point. It's a lot of exhaustion. It's halfway to dead. When you take damage, you take an extra D10 necrotic damage. Can't happen again until the start of your next turn. Stuff like that, right? Stuff that has mechanical problems in it for you. Something that would make you actually want to get rid of it. That said, if your players are super into roleplay and your table is really, really roleplay heavy, you can go about it in a way that it has like social drawbacks for you or something like that. Like, let's say you're cursed and your face, like, I don't know, melts, randomly transforms into a different type of face. There you go. Like, as if affected by disguised self. There we go. I came up with that one on the spot. I promise I have some notes and I have the book open in front of me, but I am making some of this up as I go, if that's not painfully obvious. So you have the ability to like affect them in all these different ways, right? You as a DM, not you as a player. I mean, maybe your DM will let you lay a curse on somebody, but you better believe that if the DM is letting you lay a curse on somebody, you're getting one laid back on you. I'm just saying. But you have the burden of this curse. This is the interaction with the curse and the mechanics of the game, or the mechanics of the character, or the character as a concept. Whatever, right? One of the more common ones, actually, for this is something like Lycanthropy. It doesn't quite fit the exact same mold, but it is a similar sort of thing, the way that people treat it a lot of times in D&D, in that it is not a voluntary thing that is affecting you eventually, and you have a way to get rid of it. But speaking of getting rid of it, I am all over the segues today, apparently. They've been like 4 out of 10s at best. We are moving on to the resolution of a curse, right? So this is the part where, oh boy, I suck some tea up into my nose. Your curses are going to obviously be affecting you and provide you with some sort of disadvantage that you will want to get rid of. And that is the part where resolving the curse actually takes place, right? A lot of general curses, and maybe even a lot of these, can be removed by the remove curse spell. But if you are playing in something that has a specifically potent curse, maybe remove curse doesn't work. Maybe you need up to greater restoration, or you have to actually go accomplish something, and those restoration spells don't work on you. Or maybe remove curse or greater restoration just like tamps it down for a little while, like something like that. And that's more like the direction that we're leaning with a lot of these curses, because yeah, it's cool to give them a curse and then have them be able to actually fix it without having to like sidetrack themselves. But also, sidetracking themselves could lead to a really cool story development in some capacity if you can work it into your main campaign. If you're playing a full campaign and you're using this element of stuff. If you're playing a one-shot, I highly recommend making them go do something, because that's kind of the point. Again, we'll talk about it in a sec. The curse can be resolved in a number of ways. Like we said, maybe it's removed by one of those spells. Maybe it's just suppressed by one of those spells. If it's just suppressed or those don't have any effect, usually the curse is resolved by something that ties directly into how it is assigned to a person, how they have come under the affliction of the curse, So if it's somebody who, with their dying breath, has cursed you, maybe you have to go like serve their family in some way, save their family from X, Y, and Z danger or something like that. Or if you have stolen treasure from this long forgotten tomb, maybe you need to like bring the memory of that person back to sort of like the forefront of society in some way, by opening like a museum or shrine or blah, 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 that sort of thing, right? Maybe doing something that is almost impossible or seemingly almost impossible. I mean, there's magic and dragons in the world. There's a lot that's pretty much entirely possible. That sort of thing, right? Maybe, this is, I just looked down and saw this in the book. Maybe there is somebody who is wronged by the current ruling family. They have laid this curse on their tomb. You went in and stole stole something from the tomb. You've been cursed by this thing now. The only way to resolve it is to remove that family from power that has wronged this person. That kind of vibe deal thing, you know? Something like that will actively kind of combat the reason that the curse exists in the first place, you know? And in doing so, you have to do a lot of like world building and story prep as the DM to like make sure that the reason the curse exists makes sense, which can be a little bit of extra work, but it is also a really good random encounter to have just kind of in your back pocket. So if you come up with like 2 different cursed temples or something they're going to run into, or there's a person on the random encounter list that you have rolled up or something like that that will saddle one of the players with one of these curses. I almost said impart, which I guess would also work, but not what I was going for. That sort of thing, right? Like you were looking for something like that to work in your main campaign. Yes, you're going to have to do a little bit of writing ahead of time for it, but then you will have it there, and it can take up a good couple of sessions and be a really rewarding arc for whoever the character is and whoever the people are, even if it is just ultimately a side quest kind of thing. But you can also make it a recurring thing. If somebody curses somebody, but they don't like die outright or whatever, like if they aren't cursing them with their dying breath, you can have that character become a recurring character. Like maybe part of the curse is making the person who put it on you remove it from you. So then they have to go like hunt down this person and go through all these different steps to get that accomplished, which is a kind of fun and cool arc to actually go on. Which brings me to the talk about the one shot that I was kind of talking about, even though I don't exactly use that idea. So this concept, I don't remember exactly where it came from. I was watching some movie, right? As you do, you watch some movie, you see something, and you're like, I'm going to take that for D&D. So you have the players roll up characters. They have their characters. They come in. They're only like level maybe 4 at most, so they don't have any like crazy powerful abilities at this point. And you have them come in, and you sit them down, and then you hand them all a character sheet for a different character, a much higher level character, who is part of essentially a treasure hunting crew. And this treasure hunting crew is going through it. It's the plot of every like mummy movie you've ever seen, where like they unlock some ancient secret curse or whatever. And they unlock that, and then it is put out into the world. And these characters are from either like the area that this individual originally lived on, or they are in the area of whatever this tomb that has been opened up in some capacity. I don't know. And then they are the ones that have to deal with actually resolving the curse, because the curse is not on them; it is on the area around them. It's the sudden ghost infestation in town. It is the mummy walking through the streets. This enemy that is too big for these characters to actually deal with, so they are forced to like run, hide, maybe deal a little bit of damage to it, but they're forced to problem solve their way through it. Because what I have found most effective a lot of times in D&D one-shots, I'll probably do an episode on one-shots at some point here, is not necessarily to have it laden with combat, but instead have it laden with these little encounters. And by encounters, I do mean the terms they use in the books, which are like any kind of encounters that allow people to problem solve on the fly, allow people to use social interactions, maybe do allow people to like brute strength their way through. If they're a barbarian, there's a reason they wanted to go barbarian, so you should lean into that. But that's not what we're really, that's a different topic. And so they have, you know, a set amount of time maybe to actually go through and figure out what's going on. Maybe give them 24 in-game hours or something like that. And you have them like sit down and plan out what they want to do, and then they tell you what they want to do, and you're like, okay, that is going to take 2 of your hours. Are you sure you want to do that? Yes, great. And they are actively working against a clock that they can see and they have control over. You're not like putting a timer down in front of them or anything to really try and speed them up. But you are, in fact, putting the pressure on them by making them manage a resource that they don't normally have to manage in D&D, which is what I think makes it a little bit more fun than a normal one-shot sort of thing, or a normal, like, oh, go break the curse kind of thing. if you're watching this and you want to, you are free to steal that, of course, because it's a very generic idea. There's no way I could ever lay claim to that idea. It's not original at all. But I think it would make a very good one-shot. But that is also where I am going to stop talking about curses today, because I have run out of things to say on my notebook page here. Oh boy, that's good. So anyway, thank you all very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really, really do appreciate it. And thank you so much to my patrons in particular. You guys are really the ones that make the show possible. If you would like to and are able to support me via Patreon, the link to that is in the description of this video. I would very much appreciate it. Honestly, if you're making it to this point in the video, thank you so much, because it means that you have committed to and actually watched all of the content that I put out here. So again, I very much appreciate all of you watching. Thank you so much for following along and making me part of your daily routine. But with all that said, I will see you guys tomorrow. And until next time, keep on rolling.